The Last of Us HBO series' first full trailer offers a grim tone and a glimpse of the infected. Ever since The Last of Us was announced to have a live-action HBO series in the works, fans wondered how faithful it would be to Naughty Dog's seminal game franchise. Much has been kept under wraps about the show, though myriad set photos revealed familiar outfits, locations, and ambience from the game. HBO recently released a seconds-long teaser with a glimpse at some harrowing moments from The Last of Us, with dialogue revealed to echo that of Joel's in one of the game's most emotional scenes. While the trailer for The Last of Us TV show reveals some of the game's side characters, it shouldn't forget to focus on Joel and Ellie's alone time. Fans were excited to hear about anything related to The Last of Us, as it is indeed The Last of Us Day. Naughty Dog typically launches new merchandise in its PlayStation-affiliated store online, and it has done so again today. But among the consumer memorabilia, the most substantial content arrived with a full-length trailer for HBO's The Last of Us. The show looks remarkably faithful to the game, and there are many moments it recreates that fans can compare and contrast to scenes in The Last of Us Part 1. It's been some time since we heard The Last of Us was being developed into an HBO series with series creator Neil Druckmann at the helm, and while we've seen scattered images and a very brief teaser clip of Pedro Pascal as Joel and Bella Ramsey as Ellie, we now have a full teaser trailer. The trailer largely focuses on mood and the world of The Last of Us, and as you'd expect, everything is appropriately grim. That said, we also a couple of brief glimpses of the show's spore-infected monsters. It's clear HBO is sparing no expense for this series, with its Canadian shooting location standing in fairly well for Boston and the other places Joel and Ellie visit. As for the casting, Pedro Pascal absolutely looks the part as Joel. I'm less convinced about Bella Ramsey, but it's the acting that counts, so we'll see how she stacks up there. Haven't been keeping up with The Last of Us HBO series? As mentioned, the show is being headed up by Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin, Chernobyl. The Last of Us series takes place 20 years after modern civilization has been destroyed. Joel, a hardened survivor, is hired to smuggle Ellie, a 14-year-old girl, out of an oppressive quarantine zone. What starts as a small job soon becomes a brutal, heartbreaking journey, as they both must traverse the U.S. and depend on each other for survival. At its core, the first The Last of Us is a tale about two people, Joel and Ellie. Brought together by strange circumstances, the two must work together to survive as they cross a post-apocalyptic America. While the two initially dislike each other, the time Joel and Ellie spend together causes them to learn more about each other and in turn themselves. By making Ellie a complete unknown to Joel at the start of the narrative, Naughty Dog is able to build their relationship in a realistic way. The two barely speak to each other and avoid eye contact throughout their initial journey to the Capitol building. But as Joel and Ellie go through both life-threatening and somber experiences, they eventually warm up and learn to trust each other. This doesn't mean that Joel and Ellie don't meet anyone along their journey. In fact, they meet quite the cast of characters, some of whom are reflections of themselves. Bill and Frank were two former associates who went their separate ways. Bill is bitter and keeps to himself throughout most of his interactions with Joel and Ellie, but upon finding Frank's dead body, he briefly becomes remorseful that he wasn't able to help his former partner. Henry and Sam are two brothers who are looking to join the Fireflies. Henry is overprotective of his younger brother, much like Joel is with Ellie. Sam is obedient to Henry but wishes his brother would have more faith in him, something Joel and Ellie are slowly starting to build with each other. Henry eventually commits suicide after killing an infected Sam, likely out of guilt for letting his brother turn and being forced into such a difficult decision. These people, while in many ways different from Joel and Ellie, show the two how other partnerships work in the post-apocalyptic world. Some relationships turn bitter, like Bill and Frank, while others are too dependent on each other to a fault, like Henry was with Sam. There are more characters that Joel and Ellie run into on their journey, and the ones who aren't initially trying to kill them usually impart something the two can learn from. The Last of Us thrives just as much in these small moments of humanity as it does in its more brutal and terrifying scenes. Doing so will allow the audience to get a better grasp of who Joel and Ellie are as well as their growing relationship with each other.